Hi, Sean Kidney here, CEO of the Climate Bonds Initiative. Welcome to our regional day where we're looking at a deep dive focus on a range of areas. We're going to start off with a look at China, but before we look at China, I want to introduce you to our premium sponsor for the day with a little story. In 2012, I had the chance for the first time to meet with officials from the People's Bank of China and the National Developer Reform Commission to talk about the potential, the prospect of green bonds and green finance to help meet China's goals and objectives around ecological civilization, and also to support the reform agenda of capital markets in China. We had a fantastic conversation. It was really interesting and it led to further projects. By 2014, I was working with the State Council, or the State Councils, which is the Chinese cabinet essentially, Development Research Centre, on a project around green finance. And then I met a man who's become a good friend, Dr. Ma Jun, who at that time was the chief economist of the Research Bureau of the People's Bank of China, who set up a green finance task force, which brought together people from all around the financial community and the regulatory community in China to look at what to do in relation to mobilising finance for China's environmental objectives. I had the privilege of serving on that, but more to the point, I had the privilege of being associated with recommendations that worked, that were taken up. And that led to the growth of a green bond market regulation brought out by the People's Bank of China and the other major regulators in China, and the rapid growth of a market supported by green definitions, a green projects catalogue, a blueprint for the world. We've seen since then enormous growth in the green finance, the green loan, and of course the green and sustainable bonds market in China. This year, we expect 100% growth on last year. It's extraordinary. But even then, I didn't think that this year in 2021, I'd be introducing to you today someone from the world's largest insurance company, Ping An of China Asset Management. Here, I'm so excited because this is the bringing together of the buy-side community, the massive, huge buy-side community in China, represented by Ping An of China Asset Management, with the regulatory agenda we've been working on for so long, and of course the banking agenda, which has been exemplified by recent landmark issuance by the China Development Bank and ICBC, and we'll hear later from a representative from China Development Bank, the world's largest development bank. I'm thrilled today to be able to introduce to you Chi-Kit Chai, who's the head of capital markets and the chief investment officer of Ping An of China Asset Management in Hong Kong. Chi-Kit, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. Over to you for your introductory remarks for this important day.
Thank you for the kind introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, and evening to you. Today is the regional day of the CBI conference. I want to thank Sean and CBI for inviting me to give some opening remarks to the day's proceedings. I will talk a little about the day and focus on China before handing over to the first panel of China experts. In today's conference, we'll have regional panels from around the globe, starting with China, to discuss the incredible journey of decarbonization and the role and actions we can take in that mission. We'll then hear perspectives from US, ASEAN, Africa, Brazil, Latin America, and the Caribbean on challenges and opportunities regarding green economics and finance. Green has become an imperative for the development of the Chinese economy, following Chinese President Xi Jinping's landmark commitment to the United Nations General Assembly last year. The 30-60 decarbonization goals will see China scale up its voluntary emission targets under the Paris Agreement, hitting peak emissions before 2030 and achieving carbon neutrality by 2060. These were all locked in at the National People's Congress in March. So the path is set. CBI estimates China will need 3 to 4 trillion RMB in green investment every year. Green bonds are an important financing vehicle to support this investment. This is where we come in. Climate change is the biggest challenge facing humanity. It has already become clear, not taking action is not an option. Each of us has a personal responsibility and a professional responsibility for the future of our planet and the future of our children. So I appeal to you and your organizations as responsible citizens and financial institutions to work together and to mobilize our resources to support green and sustainable finance. Support the transition to a more developed and fully fledged green bond market. The growth and transformation of the global green bond market in recent years have been particularly meaningful and significant. The first green bond was issued in 2007. In 2015, the cumulative issuance was approximately $100 billion. By 2020, this figure had exceeded $1 trillion. It took the world more than 10 years to reach the first $1 trillion mark. Within the next 3 to 5 years, we can expect the issuance to exceed $1 trillion every year. This is a confirmation of the rise of green finance globally and the increasing emphasis on green development by policymakers and market participants all around the world. Today, as market practitioners here, we believe green bonds will be a cornerstone in the responsible and sustainable transformation of global economies. Let's talk a little bit about China. China's performance in green bond market has attracted worldwide attention. Since 2016, China has been consistently ranked among the top 3 countries in terms of annual issuance. As of 2020, the total amount of green bonds issued by China ranks 2nd in the world, second only to the US. Many local Chinese issuers with considerable influence in the market have also gone overseas to issue green bonds. They have adopted international best practices, which have been recognized by global investors. The Climate Bonds Initiative is able to provide certification for the vast majority of the green bonds issued overseas by Chinese issuers. At Ping An, we're deeply committed to following the path to sustainability. Climate risk reach into every aspect of our business. Climate-driven events threaten agricultural production, water resources, energy generation, and so on. All are critical areas in the insurance sector. We're the first Chinese asset owner to be a signatory of the UN Principle for the Responsible Investment. We are also the first Chinese asset owner to join Climate Action 100+, a global investor initiative that pressures the world's biggest greenhouse gas emitters to take climate change action. Ping An subjects high carbon emission industries to a rigorous monitoring system in line with Climate 100+ guidelines, refraining from investments in violators. Beyond screening, Ping An also commits to green investment. Our green investments have reached 103 billion RMB. We also tackle the risk of climate change with new tools. Using artificial intelligence technology to monitor and analyze data, Ping An develops its business under the belief that technology is one of the most powerful tools for overcoming humanity's greatest threat. We have always responded proactively to risks arising from climate change. Now, without further ado, I want to pass the baton on to our first panel experts, who will take you through the China story in more detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Chit Kit Chai. Thank you for introduction.